Welcome to Power Conversations Podcast. This podcast features discussions of overcoming by faith and resilience with women who are breaking glass ceilings and excelling to higher heights despite their past circumstances. Brought to you by What's Your Superpower TV channel, we will interview several women from across the globe who have overcome adversity and pushed through to fulfill their purpose. Welcome everyone to Power Conversations book discussion. Tonight we have with us the amazing co-authors of the anthology Courage in Cannabis. Let me bring them on in. Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, wonderful. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
So let's get started. This book was visionary or is visionary by the great Dr. Bridget Williams. Dr. Williams, come on up.
Thank you, Nadia. Thank you for having us and, bringing us on to discuss really something that is sometimes controversial for some, but it's been a really journey for all of us. And so I'm excited and thank you for having us.
Awesome. Dr. Bridget, go ahead and give us some background information on yourself.
Absolutely. So my name is Dr. Bridget Williams. I am board certified family and cannabinoid physician. I spent about 20 years at the Cleveland Clinic before I broke free and really started treating patients the way they were asking me to treat them. I found myself in this space because when I started helping patients find cannabis as a medical option, I was really struck by the emotion that was behind their experiences. I started kind of jotting down their stories and realized that they were not my stories to publish. So when I discovered the whole anthology process, I brought together 17 authors that shared their experiences and how cannabis changed their life. And so whether you're doctor, lawyer, parent, caregiver, educator, addiction issues, we cross entrepreneurs, we cross the gamut about how cannabis has changed people's lives.
Awesome. And so tell us, you all launched what day?
December 13th. So what has it been? About 2-3 weeks now, I think. And the response has been amazing. How people have been excited about this book, waiting for this book to launch. And we're just at the beginning of this.
Awesome. Yes. And you all also made international bestsellers, right?
Right. Awesome. We were bestseller for Herbal Remedies, international bestseller, and best new release.
Yes. Congratulations, y'all. A great accomplishment for you guys. So let's go ahead and get intros from the rest of the co-authors that are here today. We'll start with Miss Rebecca. You can unmute and begin your intro.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Finch, and as you can see, I'm a homeschool mom. I'm also do home health care as a business, and I am an author in this book because my family and I have had quite a struggle with cancer and tumors, and cannabis has really helped. So we just wanted to get our testimony and our story out to everybody.
Awesome, Queen. And so thank you for that intro. We'll come back.
Okay.
And of course, circle around, get more details about your story.
Great.
Next up, Miss Charlana. Unmute, Queen.
Hello, thank you for having us. My name is Charlana McKeithen. I'm the executive director of a nonprofit called Cannabis Laws Matter. I'm a patient, and that journey as a patient is what brought me into cannabis to be an advocate. I started doing advocacy in college back in '93. So, because of what I was dealing with and seeing that other people were dealing with the same thing, I felt that laws needed to be changed and we needed to have people out there to push the envelope forward.
Awesome. Thank you, Queen, for that intro. Miss Adila, can unmute your mic. There you go. Oh.
Can you hear me?
We can. Uh-oh, you're back muted, honey. Unmute one more time. There you go. There
Okay.
you go.
Thank you for having me on your show today. So, and thank you again, Dr. Bridget, for your vision in this book. Uh, basically, my part in this book and this anthology is to basically tell a story from a corporate standpoint and a standpoint of governance, how my organization, the CROMP, National Association of Black Risk Compliance Management Professionals, how we are in that center of that industry because we are forging leadership and that thought leadership in all workplace industries, including the cannabis industry. So I basically want to tell the story of arriving into cannabis through organizational leadership and how it will help other companies possibly form an alliance with commonality uh, around this controversial industry.
Awesome, Queen. Thank you.
Mhm.
Miss Muhammad.
Hello, everyone. My name is Edlenia Atherley Muhammad, and I'm the owner of Marlon's Miracles. And we are a health and wellness company that primarily focuses on providing CBD education, resources, and products for people, and just educating them on cannabis and how we can help them with living the best life that they can live.
Awesome,
We're
Queen.
excited to be a part of this project and being a part of Bridget's vision. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on tonight. Miss Candy.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're very welcome.
I took part in this book for Cannabis Saving My Life. I struggle with multiple autoimmune disorders and fibromyalgia. And this actually was a great experience to be able to open up and share with others and follow my passion after saving my life. I just want to continue and pay it forward. And I'm now co-owner of Pearl of Texas. We are in Corpus Christi, and I just am here to help others know that they're not alone.
Awesome. Thank you, Queen, for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Mr. Kevin. Can unmute for us.
Hey, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Hello, how are you doing? My name is Kevin Green. I am the vice president of Cleveland School of Cannabis. We're an education workforce development company based in Ohio with a national program and very close to our national accreditation process and being one of the first national accredited school for cannabis education only. Truthfully, encouraging cannabis and truthfully the cannabis industry as a whole and being a part of this entire project has just allowed me to the ability to think about my life and some of the issues that my family has dealt with through the war on drugs, through cannabis directly, my journey with cannabis, and being able to share that story and showing the fact that the other side of what this looks like when you are finally able to be your authentic self. In all spaces, is a beautiful thing, and being able to share that story with others to inspire others to not only take a chance on maybe the cannabis industry, but just in they might be in any other situation, they get finally have the courage to take a chance on themselves. So I think Courage in Cannabis is not only going to really allow more cannabis stories to be shared, more people to be empowered, but truthfully, I think it's going to be inspiration for a lot of people that feel that they cannot be their true selves.
Awesome. Thank you so much, King. All right, great intros, guys. Listen, let's dive in this book. I'm gonna start with let's start with Miss Rebecca, and you can go ahead and go a little bit deeper and tell us your story of how you arrived at cannabis as your solution to your medical issue.
All right. Well, with cannabis, like a lot of people, it was honestly our last resort at the time. Going through a lot of medical issues with my husband, and then my son diagnosed with a brain tumor. When the doctor said they wanted to do chemo on him, we tried everything, organic foods, lots of holistic remedies, you know, gave it to the Lord, sat and prayed. However, going back to the MRIs, there was still not as much progress as we would like. So, a great friend of mine introduced me to Joe. He's the gentleman that helped us with the cannabis and helped us treat our son. And we knew that was the answer from there. And it really made a difference. And we just want the word to get around.
Awesome. And so how long did you um take to, well, not long did you take, but how long after starting the treatment did you start to see results?
Let's see. I would say 4 to 6 months. We went back to MRIs about every 3 weeks with my little guy. And
Mhm.
every time there were results, not as much as the doctor would like to see, but we knew the underlying treatments that he was having, and but a good solid result was about 4 to 6 months into the treatments.
Amazing. And so if you don't mind me asking, about how long was that ago?
Let's see, he was 8, now he's 11, so 8 going on 9.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Great, great, great. Great to hear. Great to hear.
absolutely.
Yes, awesome. All right. Thank you, Rebecca.
You're
Next
welcome.
up, Miss Charlana, please share with us your journey.
Yes, sorry, having a little problems with this mute button due to this
It's
platform.
okay.
My journey is that and I had adult onset of some mental health problems, depression, bipolar, and then down the road after that, I had an autoimmune disease. I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, and so Canis allowed me to be able to have a quality of life because I became homebound, and people don't teach you how to be disabled. And so
Right.
it really took a toll. They don't have classes for that. And so someone introduced me to cannabis from a medical perspective because I grew up in the church. I went to Catholic school till 12th grade. So that's just something I didn't do. Wasn't innocent, but that's just wasn't my thing. It didn't work for me. But when I was introduced from a medical perspective and with everything I had going on, it has allowed me to have somewhat of a quality of life. I'm able to go out. I'm able to come on your show and speak and things of that nature.
Awesome. Awesome, Queen. If you don't mind me asking, which autoimmune immune disease do you have?
Fibromyalgia.
Awesome. And there are a
Yep.
lot of
And
people that suffer with fibromyalgia. A lot. I hadn't heard it. Um, over the years, but in the last about 5 or 6 years, I started hearing more women because, of course, my audience is women, and my people that I network with are mostly women, and so they were saying, well, I've heard a few of them had that, after battling different symptoms that they didn't know, where they came from, how to get rid of them. The doctor wasn't helping, the meds weren't helping. So it's very good to hear that that is a definite treatment. Thank you, Miss Charlana.
You're
You had something
welcome.
else you wanted to say? You can go
Well, I
ahead.
just wanted to say it's repeated trauma to the body, and our body's not built for that type of trauma. And so I don't wish it on anyone. It's not fun. But cannabis has allowed me to ease that pain and like I said, function. So thank you.
Yes, praise God, praise God. And Miss Muhammad, you see, I'm steering away from your first name, Queen, because I don't want to mess it up.
No, it's really not as hard as it looks. It's Ed Lania.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you can say Ed. Ed is fine as long as you spell it with 2 D's. We're good.
Okay. So go ahead, Miss Ed, and tell me about your journey with cannabis.
So similar to Charlana, and actually Bridget and I went to high school together. We went to an all-girls Catholic college prep school, and we just didn't do those. Like you just didn't do that.
Right.
So I never used marijuana, cannabis in any form until maybe about 9, almost 10 years ago when I was first introduced to it. I have migraines and anxiety, and that's primarily what I use cannabis for. And I was at 25 headache days a month. And for anybody that deals with chronic pain, and I've been dealing with chronic pain since I was a child, you start to get accustomed to being in pain. So it's like I'm in pain, that's normal. Then like great pain is horrible. And then and then maybe every now and then you have a day of no pain and you're like, whoa, wait a minute, this is what normal is,
Yeah.
And so I got introduced to it actually through church, through a member at church in a liturgical dance class, and did research on it and was able to really to get my life back and to be able to not just get through my day, but to actually live a day, which is phenomenal. And we even have on our website the quote from the Bible that says, "The leaves of the trees are for healing the nations." Everything that we need to heal ourselves grows somewhere on this earth. God has given us what we need. And because man has decided to kind of, I'm going to say this word, villainify this plant, make it bad when it's not bad, know. And when you start to do your research, you start to learn that things that you were taught and told about it are not even true.
Yep.
They're not true. And so I share my journey and how I went from somebody who was extremely clueless to now having, being in a position to help and educate other people and kind of lessen that stigma, especially in a church setting, and lessen that stigma so people don't have to feel guilty about trying to be healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. That was good. That was good. And Miss Adila, I hope I'm saying it right. Miss Adila, come on and tell us your journey, Queen. One more time. There you go.
There it is. Thank you so much. So, and you did say it right, my name. But I do want to say this. See, in the cannabis industry and with all workplace industries, we're trying to seek more representation. So I believe that my journey and my goal with this anthology and with the purpose in which I'm trying to serve for an organization I represent as the chair of the cannabis committee is by forging communication efforts between Main Street and the community to ensure that everyone is looking at policies and procedures and risk and compliance all the same way as you would look at any other practicing business. I understand that there is a dispute whether or not it's legal. However, there's different states that's already deemed it legal. And with that being said, there needs to be proper systems set up so that this could be not just regulated, because when we talk about regulation, we talk about money. I'm more pertaining to the regulation between the policies of the workplace and the regulations with the fairness and those who are using opiates versus those who decide to use marijuana, and for them not to be punished because of that. So, with that being said, I'm kind of trying to intersect those policies and procedures in a way whereas we can continue to have conversation with those people in leadership roles so that they can, kind of see the other side of this. Because a lot of times we have board members in the boardroom who are making decisions and they don't know the first thing about cannabis and what cannabis does. And we need to be able to first educate, and then we discuss the monetary value of what could happen or the possibilities. But if we don't have the primary foundation, and that is not created or built, then we're going to continuously put ourselves in a situation where we're going backwards instead of moving forward. So I'm hoping to continue to forge that communication, fill in the gaps, and actually create a standing goal of policies that could be achievable through any measurable distance between different businesses and different levels of communication throughout leaderships and governance platforms. So basically, that's what I'm doing with the organization that I'm on, the Cannabis Committee, and basically I'm describing how we do that and how we begin to communicate these effects.
Awesome. So you're coming from a standpoint of regulations, policies, and procedures, like, not just making it about the money, but actually showing the process and the progress that our world, our country can move toward if cannabis is received in the correct way, right?
Absolutely. I mean, why do we have to continuously put ourselves at a state of, oh, I'm doing this, it's legal. There's always fear. It's consistent fear
Yeah.
around something that's deemed legal in one place and deemed legal in not another place.
Right,
We need
right.
to stop our thinking around that and start educating these people who's creating that fear.
Yeah.
Because fear mongering is prevalent and it happens in every industry. There's different tactics that are utilized to get
Mm-hmm.
people away from something that's good for them. And it's
Yeah.
not really about the pursuit of just saying we want to legalize. Let's provide the reason why and give us the platform so that we can prove that reason, rather than just speaking off
Absolutely.
of baseless when we talk about facts.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And I love that you're coming from that standpoint within this book because, you know, those that read it, that maybe just picking it up to see the stories and the, the breakthroughs that have come from utilizing cannabis in medical. But this is important, the policies and, like you said, the processes, and making sure that people are educated, because for so many years we have been told that it's bad, it's something that hurts you, something that harms you. But yet every day more research shows that it's actually helping, it's helping people. And so yeah, I thank you for that input.
Absolutely. And I'll just say this in close. We have Sanjay Gupta of CNN speaking about cannabis and how it's helping kids and autism. This is the article I just sent out to the group the other day. We have prevalent leaders in society who are just now thinking about this, but we have people like Charlene who've been advocating for this since 93. When is everybody going to get on one accord and start listening?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Queen. Miss Candy, come on and tell us your journey.
So my journey is just to help educate and pass it forward as far as what I went through. I want to help them not go through what I went through and lose all that time in their life. I feel I lost 8 years of my life, that I could have done different if I would have just not listened to society or, family or friends, just, learned more on it, and I would have saved time. Now I see it as a healing for me. Actually, we just moved and I was unpacking and setting up my office, and I found my list of medications that I'd walk around with, because I was on 16 medications.
Wow.
Now I can stand proud, and I just take one daily. Of course, with my cannabis and CBD regimen, it's been amazing. I wouldn't go back at all. I wouldn't change anything.
Awesome.
I just want to keep fighting for it and help those that suffer from fibromyalgia and autoimmune disorders. And I feel even if you're not suffering right now, it could, even just CBD could help you from actually going through a tough
Yeah, so
hit
it's
with, any type of struggle you develop in the future.
preventative as well, you think?
Yes, I feel, yeah, I've had less flare-ups. My labs have been great. Even, I mean, it's just everything has been great since. I have had no ER visits, no hospital stays, no surgeries. Like I could probably count, the times I had surgery when I was on opiates and my morphine pump, and I was always in the ERs, even on opiates and the medications for all the autoimmune disorders. I was on oral chemo, but I was still in the hospital. I was still in the ER, because my flare ups weren't, maintained.
Yeah,
Now I see none of that anymore. I just do my follow ups just for lab work to see if there's any activity going on and continue what you're doing, they tell me. I'm
awesome.
not, I just feel here in Texas, though, we don't have very much support.
Yeah,
I feel like my doctors are okay with it and they're aware of it. And I do have my medical card here in Texas, but they just won't discuss it with me. I feel like they're like, they don't want to know about it.
yeah,
They seem to just, turn the other way or, okay, but they don't want to talk about it. Like,
yeah.
sign me out.
They avoid the situation, huh?
Yeah. And I feel we could help so many other people, it's a natural healing. It's great.
Absolutely. Now let me ask you, how long have you been on your treatment?
I started cannabis January 2017.
Awesome. So you have been free of flare ups for almost 4 years, 4 or 5 years.
Yes. And the small flare ups that I've had are very minimal that with my own microdosing and so forth, I have been able to maintain them at home.
Awesome. That is amazing. Hmm. All right. Thank you, Miss Candy. It's so much I could say, but I don't want to take up y'all time. So
You're welcome.
I'm gonna move forward to Mr. Kevin. Come on and tell us your journey, Mr. Green.
So I definitely used cannabis when I was a teenager. So we'll start off with that one. um, for me, listening to these stories and what I think everyone's journey has been a part of what my realization has came with cannabis, and where I am right now, because where I started in cannabis was just a teenager that wanted to do what people said that you shouldn't do, and obviously the teenagers, that's what you want to do.
Right.
And the teenage mindset is, I'm grown, I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to probably binge on it, and I'm going to do too much of it, and I'm going to overdo it. And that was the first time that I remember being 15 and noticing that cannabis was affecting me negatively, because I played sports my entire life, and I was starting to second guess how much I wanted to play sports, and
Mhm.
that didn't really make sense. And it took a person that was really, really close to me that came to me and had a conversation with me about like who I really wanted to be. And that's when I started to know that I first time I actually started to create rules with my cannabis use. So with specific rules around when I'm in season, what I do, how I do it, because I had goals that I wanted. And at this time, I had no idea about any of the medical purposes of
Right.
cannabis. I just knew that I was overdoing it and it was affecting my goals.
Mhm.
As I've continued to mature and grow, and learned so much more about cannabis. For me, I think truthfully, what my story's been with cannabis is that I remember the first day my mom, found a dime bag, and I'm Jamaican. I was born in Jamaica, so my family migrated here when I was 7. And I remember the first time, and my Jamaican family is not a family that deals with cannabis though. So my mom is just high on life. Like a smell of alcohol is gonna get her drunk. You know what I mean? So she doesn't do anything cannabis. My uncle never did with cannabis because he has asthma and things of that sort. So never mess with it either. So it wasn't really around me outside of like my peers. So it wasn't in my
Right.
home at all whatsoever. Never really interacted with any for any adults. So I remember her finding that first like dime bag and her yelling at me, one, because of how much I paid for that little bit of cannabis compared to what she would have paid when she saw that growing up in Jamaica. So that was her first thing of being upset with me, but just in the sense of how she thought that would ruin my life and put me down a track
Yeah.
of not being economically stable. And
Hmm.
it's completely been the complete opposite. Cannabis has allowed me to take my skill set that in my career into a whole different stratosphere. I've been able to become someone that's known on more of a national scale and doing national work because of the cannabis industry. You know what I mean? Most of the traveling and the things that I do is not because of the 11 years I spent doing diversity, equity, inclusion work, marketing work. It's been the cannabis industry. It's traveling me all across the United States. It's taking me to multiple countries, and it's created economic stability for myself, for my family, my mother that's seeing that now, and to the point where now, because I'm so much more educated about cannabis, I've been able to educate them and
Yeah.
actually have them engage with cannabis in new ways. I said my uncle has um, severe asthma, so inhaling is just not a good thing for him. But being able to utilize topicals, edibles, I cannot just tell you. Just I remember first giving him the Green Harvest Health freeze cream and saying just rub it on everything, right? Because he's a roofer.
Hmm.
So I was just
Yeah.
like, just rub it on the things that hurt. And again, I'm Jamaican, so I come from like all a lot of homegrown things, nothing but Epsom salt and like bananas and stuff that doesn't work. They just rub a
Yeah.
bunch of things on you, right? So, being able to transition him into something that he's been interacting and he's seen what Rastafarian culture is and what that actually means and how they've used it holistically, right? But they never really got the credit for it, right? It was still somewhat
Right.
subculture, even in the land of Jamaica, where Rastafarian lifestyle, it was born at. So, for me, my
Hmm.
cannabis journey has been my respect that I have for cannabis now, the economic stability it has been able to bring me, myself, my family, and really the full circle of what it means. That one dime bag that my mom yelled at me about how much I paid, is paying dividends more so now than I ever even thought that it ever could for me. So just hearing these stories just continues to inspire me to say that there's so much more that I still don't know.
Yeah.
There's so much more for us to still be able to do in the industry, and to grow this not only from an industry standpoint, but really how do we integrate cannabis into the social fabric of our lives
Hmm. Absolutely.
again, right? That's really what I believe that it can do. And when you think about something like that, the entrepreneur in me says there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of problems to be solved, and there's a lot more things to do, and there's a lot more places to see and experience. And I'm just really just blessed to be able to see now. And I all think it's all because I know more. So education is going to be a big key in this whole entire thing. And I'm just excited to be on that side of it and watch so many people have left, our schools educated, smart, know what they want to do, and they're actualizing it in the world. Every time a student goes out and say they got a job, I still be like, oh man, they work, they're out here doing this, and they went to our school. It's still an amazing thing. It still gives you a bit of joy. So, so excited to have shared this extreme experience with everyone, and we're still going, we're still in it, which is the coolest
Yes.
part. I think we've actually just got started, right? The book, getting the book
Yeah.
out is the
Y'all
first part.
just
Now we actually
starting.
get to have a little bit of fun. So, that's been my journey. So I'm looking forward to, what this part of the journey is. As you said in the beginning, right? We're number one. I'm an author because of
Yes.
cannabis.
That's
Like,
it.
so
That's
like that's
it.
a pretty cool thing.
Yes, you guys are amazing. This is wow. So, normally, thank you, Kevin, for that. Thank you, because you guys have enlightened me, right? Normally, I have like this big long list of questions that I want to ask. And tonight, I kind of came in it like, let's see what the authors bring and I'll just, kind of get in there as needed. And this has been, y'all have opened my eyes really. So I can only imagine. Of course, I did get my ebook. I have not read it yet because I have been super, super busy. But on my downtime, I do plan to read you guys' book and get some more information about what you all are bringing, what your journey is, all of your businesses. You guys are amazing. And so bringing all of that around to this amazing visionary, Dr. Bridget. Come on, unmute, Dr. Bridget. It's your turn, queen.
Well, the first thing I want to really highlight is the diversity of just this group. There's
Yes.
18 authors in total, but we're talking about medical problems. We're talking about children, we're talking about entrepreneurship, and we're talking about changing the landscape of how cannabis patients are seen, because cannabis patients are cannabis workers as well. And as I often say to Adela, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. We're here. And so how do we best manage this, right? But just in this group, there's so much diversity.
Yeah.
And I wanted people to see that there is science behind this. For every condition that we've talked about, there's incredible research that supports the use of cannabis for these conditions. And then probably more importantly, I wanted people to see that we're your everyday neighbor, right?
Yeah.
That whatever view or idea that you thought you knew about cannabis, that it is our churchgoers, it is our faith-based, it is our people that struggle with illness, it is our entrepreneur, it's everything and nothing excluded. And so this could be making a difference for someone if they just had the opportunity to learn about it. And I hope that this book provides that not only for patients or future patients, but for physicians and attorneys and people that want to just be in the industry itself. We talk about all the highlights of what it can do. And, Kevin is bold and open enough, and he's also our forward in the book, to share that sometimes it's not always, a good option, but how he changed something into what could have been a negative into something that has really flourished and been an incredible positive for his life and for his family's life as well. And for so many others, with owning a school, he hears stories every day about how cannabis can change your life, right? And so he has that point of view as well. And so having this opportunity to talk to your audience, like I said, it might, we're not trying to convince people to start using cannabis, but we hope that they will not look at their neighbor with judgment as they've done before, and find that we've all been misled, all of us, and I often say I'm a Reagan kid, Nancy taught me well, say no, and all of the above. And Eleni and I, we went to high school together, and we kept our nose pretty clean, considering, going to Catholic, right? And so to then find ourselves here only a few years later, right, Atlania, that just a couple of years later, and just how our lives have been changed by this as well. And so even like for the chapter that I have in the book, my chapter is really about the medical system and how the health system can be really the most unhealthy system and workplace that there is, and how I struggled with anxiety, depression, racism, sexism, assault, everything under the sun, living in and being a part of that community, and how cannabis was my way out. And really in meeting these amazing patients that were more brave and had more courage than I did, and how they found their way to having cannabis help them. And then I have the honor and the privilege to help them along that path. So absolutely.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. You guys have blessed me tonight. Now, Dr. Bridget, tell us how you facilitate the care of your cannabis patients. Just a little snippet in case someone needs to reach out to you or someone like you. Help us out with that.
Sure. So, as I think Adela mentioned every state is different, right? And so depending on the rules of your state really depends on what you're able to do, but CBD is for the most part available everywhere. And so on a national level, I have a CBD company, Green Harvest Health, where we provide CBD options for patients and for the community, as well as we help people get into the industry by doing custom formulation of products for people that want to be a part of this. They have an idea, and we create doctor formulated, doctor recommended products so that they can have their own product that they're selling. And we work with processors to do that. But so we do consultation across the country around cannabis and CBD. And then if you're in Ohio, we provide medical cannabis cards, which we're a medical cannabis state, so that people can not only get access to this as medicine, but we provide the treatment plans and guidance and support so that they can do it with education and feel empowered along their journey.
Awesome. Awesome. Yes, that's great. That's great. Listen, guys, y'all have filled me up with some good info. Myself, I suffer with an autoimmune disease, so I was really interested in hearing what you ladies had to say about that. And like I said, just trying to get the word out. Um, like you said, about educating, about empowering, and also just getting rid of the nay, right? Getting rid of the nay. We need to know real facts, real things that can
Yes.
save us, things that are from the earth, that are not all of these pharmaceuticals. And I really feel strongly, just about the medical industry with these drugs that are made, man-made, as opposed
Mhm.
to something that God put here to heal us, right? So I really appreciate you guys coming on tonight, talking about your book, talking about your personal journeys in your medical history, your son, your husband, Miss Rebecca, Miss Charlana, your journey with not curing, but treating and being successful at treating your fibromyalgia, Miss Edlania, your journey with headaches. I mean, a lot of us suffer from headaches, and we don't even look at it as chronic sometimes. But when I heard you say the number of headaches that you were having a month, that sparked something in me, because we don't really keep count of that kind of stuff, right? Until it gets kind of debilitating, or to the last leg, right? So that was a good point to start really just watching ourselves and being aware of what our bodies are going through, and then also bringing this information with us to our medical professionals. And then if we cannot get to where we need to get through our personal practitioners, we need to reach out to people like Dr. Bridget, right? And then get all of that good old education from Mr. Kevin. And so, Miss Candy, thank you so much as well for your input on your fibromyalgia journey as well. A lot of us women are suffering, y'all, with these autoimmune disease. I don't know if it's our hormones. I'm not medical, so I'm just going through the process myself as far as learning about my own medical journey. But I do, like I said, appreciate you guys coming on here, being transparent, being open to sharing with everyone so that we can help those on this platform can get more information, and then we can support. If we can't do anything else, we can definitely support those, you guys, and those around us, right? Because we have a responsibility to help our fellow man and not look down on them. Like, okay, of course I believe in God, of course we are faith-based, we go to church, we do this and that and the third, but you are doing way worse than taking a few CBD drops, or your cannabis oil, whatever it is that helps you outside of the church. So I'm not taking that one with me, y'all. Don't judge people. Do not do it. Just receive. If you can't help, don't hurt. And that's my word for tonight. And listen, Guys, do y'all have any parting words for our guests? You can feel free to unmute if you have something you want to say. Dr. Bridget, at the end, you can definitely give your parting words.
Well, I want people to know how best to find the book, right? And so outside of going to Amazon and going to Courage in Cannabis and finding the book, we also have a website, which is courageincannabis.com, where you can learn about each of the authors, be able to purchase the book from the authors directly, because part of my desire in this was not just to write the stories that writing it for someone. I wanted the authors to benefit from their own journey and from their own stories. So that's courageincannabis.com, where you can learn more, as well as on social media and Facebook. And we'll be out and about doing all sorts of book signings and readings, and really wanting people to experience this with us. We have an incredible group of authors that I feel, there's a story for everybody. And we want to be able to connect with people to make a difference.
Awesome. Anyone else?
I was just going to say, I want to encourage people to not only do your research, but to feel confident enough to advocate for yourself, and to start having those discussions with your doctor. This started because Bridget had a patient that was confident enough and comfortable enough to say, hey, I need to discuss this with you. Mm-hmm. And I think that more of us need to start having those conversations with our healthcare providers, with our family, with our clergy, and start really talking about it and having the conversation. I think that's what really is going to make a difference for people and start to sway legislation and sway people's judgments and sway, public opinion, and sharing your stories that you have with people. And, I always tell people, keep some product with you. Our cousin, we're out of town, and our cousin actually, strained his calf muscle, and he's been limping around. And so, I was like, my husband was like, I brought some balm, sit down and talk with him about it. And so he calls my husband, and was like, whoa, this stuff is amazing, so then my husband starts sharing his testimony. And I think it's just important that we start having those conversations with people and not allowing the fear. And I know that's hard to hold us back, and just, and not wanting to share, oh my gosh, I've got this great thing, but I don't want to tell you that I'm using weed, or I'm going to tell you I'm using CBD, but you can help people. And that's the only way we're going to start really swaying that judgment and really getting things out there and more open. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I'll just say this, it takes courage, right? And that's what the book is about. It's about speaking in courage and having the courage to be your authentic self and tell your story and live in that truth. And that truth helps everybody else to, it draws everyone into that same perspective, and they start thinking and evaluating their lives. So we want people to live more healthier. We want people to live more authentically without having to be in pain. You don't have to be in pain. There's options. You don't have to be in pain. You don't have to take it. Right.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And let me just say that the one thing that will often hit me is how many elderly people in our communities have chosen to live in pain. And when I was doing more church talks and what have you, the amount of people that are afraid of opioids because of how it's affected our communities and addiction and what have you, and they just resigned to living in pain. And that is not the way any of us want to live out our final years, right? And we need to be able to have these discussions and break down these barriers so that is not the case.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We want to live a better quality of life at all ages, right?
Yes.
Yes. Anyone else? Miss Charlana?
Yes. What I like about this book is that it's multiple stories. And if you get this book out to different people, it can help, whether it's a church, a pastor, legislators, just a wide range of people, business people, to teach them about why we're here and why it's so important that we do the work that we're doing.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Anyone else?
But once you pick up the book, Nadia, I'm just going to say, when you grab the book, grab you like, a cup of coffee or some water, some juice, put your feet up. Because once you start reading it, you're not going to put it down until it's over.
All right.
So I'm just letting you know now, it sucks you in, and the stories are just phenomenal, and it's a page turner.
You just want to keep reading the next chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Awesome. I can't wait. I can't wait. Like I said, I'm planning me some time off so that I can catch up on some of my self-care.
Yes.
So that will definitely be a part of it. And I appreciate you ladies and guys for coming on tonight and enlightening us about your wonderful book. And with that being said, if no one else has anything else to say, Dr. Bridget, go ahead and give us that website one more time.
Absolutely. So definitely join us on Courage in Cannabis, so courageincannabis.com, where you can learn about each of the authors, be able to purchase the book directly from the authors or from Amazon as well. And look on our Facebook site, Courage in Can Books, where you will see what we're doing, where we're going, the next interview that we're doing, and we'll be doing like in-person events very soon. So, definitely stay in touch with us.
Awesome. And thank you guys for joining us tonight for Power Conversations book discussion with the wonderful co-authors of Courage in Cannabis. Guys, reach out to these wonderful, wonderful co-authors. Reach out to Dr. Bridget. She can be of some great help. www.courageincannabis.com. All of the authors have their very own pages where you can support them separately. So go there to the website, click on your favorite author, and purchase your book. Thank you guys again for joining us tonight. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Good